Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Metabolism and Menopause podcast. My name is Stephanie, and I am your host and CEO of Vitality OET. We are a women's nutrition, health, and fitness company that focuses predominantly on women's hormones, particularly as they start going through perimenopause and onwards. We know that you start experiencing so many changes in this time of your life, whether it be hot flashes, night sweats, irritability, brain fog, or waking around the middle that seems to have come out of absolutely nowhere despite you not changing anything. So you go back to those tried and true methods of cutting calories, cutting carbs, doing a bunch of cardio, yet nothing seems to be working. You're putting in all this effort and it feels like you're moving backwards. But we know now that your body is inherently different now that you've gone through these hormonal changes. So our mission here at Vitality is to really help you understand how your body changes in this time of your life, so you can reach those health and fitness goals, live a life full of vitality, feel in control and at home in your body again, and really understand how to take care of this new body of yours. So today's topic's a little bit different because it's not really for you. I have had this one question come up a lot, and it kind of surprised me, to be honest, and it's coming from coaches who are looking for mentorship from me. It's coming from people that I meet through networking events and, talk about their partners or their parents or their siblings. And I think sometimes I take this stuff for granted because it's so in the forefront of my mind. But with how much these conversations keep coming up when I'm going to these things, it makes me really aware this is actually something that we really have to talk about. And it's needed because people don't know. And the question is, how do we support the women in our lives who are struggling through perimenopause, menopause, and the years that come after that? And it always comes up after I start talking about what I do for work. And then people are talking about the struggles that the women in their life are experiencing, or they're like, oh my gosh, that's like what's happening to my mom, my aunt, my sister, whoever in their life, my friends. And I think it really makes me realize how much it's not taken seriously, or people don't realize that it is a big problem. And it's not just how it is now. It's not something to be laughed at and mocked. So it is something that needs to be taken seriously, and it is something that needs to be talked about more. So when I talk about how quality of life changes and how, women feel like they just lose control over their bodies. And on top of that, they don't feel like themselves, right? And they go looking for help. And then they get that dreaded, this is just eat less, move more. That's all you got to do. That's the answer, right? But the solution that's a solution they've heard a million times, and it's not helpful. It's obviously not working. And the last thing that these women need is somebody else telling them the exact same thing that they have heard over and over and over, and that they have tried time and time again. And yet they're hearing it again, but it's coming from somebody that they're supposed to be close to, that's supposed to get them and understand and have empathy. And that's what they say. Oh, just eat a little healthier, eat a little bit less, do a little bit more exercise. And it sucks because they're hearing those same things, which leaves them hopeless. They're hearing it from their children, their friends, their doctors, their partners, and it just leaves them feeling like nobody understands them. It leaves them feeling like there is no hope. And so just put yourself in their shoes for 1 minute. Can you just begin to imagine how much that would suck to have all these concerns about your health and how you're feeling and the way that you're looking and the fact that you can't sleep and not be taken seriously? To be given literally no options except to eat less, move more? To be told that, this time will just pass, you just have to grin and bear it? To be told to eat like a bird and to fast and to give up their carbs and to spend hours in the gym? What kind of life is that? It's not one that I want to partake in. That doesn't sound like fun. That doesn't sound like fulfilling and that I'm going to be thriving. It sounds like a prison, to be quite honest. So that is not helpful advice. And it's advice that clearly is not working for most women. I mean, how would you feel? Plus, you're going through big life changes in this time of your life at the exact same time. You have like kids moving out. Maybe there's some new jobs and career changes. You're taking care of sick parents. Maybe now there are people in your life that you really value that are starting to pass away. And then, so you have all those other things. And that alone is so hard. And then add on top of that, all the symptoms of the weight gain, the hot flashes, the night sweats, the irritability, the brain fog, the bloating, the constipation, your hair thinning, feeling reactive, not being able to sleep, and just feeling so lost and so alone. Would you have the motivation to want to go to the gym? Would you have the motivation to want to do some meal prepping? Would you be in a good mood? Would you have energy? Would you feel vibrant and like you want to do the things that you used to love? Would you have any hope or ambition? No, you would feel desperate. You would feel lonely. You would feel vulnerable. You would feel lost. You would be so confused because everywhere you look, there's information contradicting each other. Fasting, not fasting, carbs, no carbs, fat or no fat, carnivore, paleo, whole foods, Weight Watchers, Ozempic, Optavia, faster weight of weight loss. Like there's so much stuff out there and so much information. It all contradicts each other. You are so confused and overwhelmed, and you feel like nobody is actually listening. How would that make you feel? Would you want to be in pictures to look back and be reminded of how terrible you are feeling? Probably not. No, you would not. And yet, what do? We give the same damn advice every single time. We do not listen, let alone try and understand. We just try to listen to answer, right? To give them a solution. But do you actually understand where they're coming from? Do you actually understand what they're struggling with? Do you understand why this is so painful and how they feel alone and that they're just so desperate and exhausted? No. You're barely listening and you're definitely not understanding. We don't give them the time of day because it's not taken seriously enough. We don't think that the hot flashes and the night sweats and the weight gain is that big of a deal, right? Or you just think, they're too lazy, or they're not tracking their food properly. Oh, they're all overeating. No, this isn't the case for a lot of women. Can it be sometimes they're overeating? Yes, but for a lot of the women that I speak to, that is not the case. And they are trying so hard and then being gaslit and told that they're not trying hard enough. They're eating too much. They must be lying about their food diaries. They're exercising in a way that's not efficient. They shouldn't be doing this. They shouldn't be doing that. And then it's just on and on and on and on. How is that helpful? It's not. So you can start to see and understand that this is not just, oh, she just wants to lose weight. This is, I don't feel like me. I don't want to do the stuff that I used to like to do. I'm exhausted. I don't feel like myself. I don't feel like how are they going to be a good partner? How are they going to be a good parent when they're feeling all these things? And all you're doing is to tell them to eat less, move more. That's not helpful. It's not helpful. So what should we be doing? Right? How can we support the women in our lives who so desperately deserve it? Because if it was anything else, it'd be taken seriously. But because it's just because they don't feel like themselves and want to lose some weight, it's not that big of a deal. It is a big deal. If it's a big deal to them, it should be a big deal to you. That's why they're telling you. Nobody tells you something that isn't important. There's always significance behind what someone is telling you. Whether or not you choose to acknowledge that is a you thing. And that's not okay if you're just choosing to, slough off everything. So the first thing that you should be doing is listen. Listen to understand, not to give them an answer. Okay? Ask questions to confirm. Is this what you mean by this? Like, actually listen and try to understand. Ask questions to help you understand how they are feeling, what they are struggling with. Because sometimes there are things that you can do that can really be helpful that you wouldn't even think would be that big of a deal. But unless you actually listen and actually understand where they're coming from, you're never going to get there. And I think this is where there's a huge issue with like coaches sometimes, partners sometimes, doctors sometimes, where it's like we're just not listening. Okay, we're just trying to constantly solve problems. What if we just listened and then asked them, hey, do you want advice? Or do you just are you needing to vent? Ask more questions. Make sure you fully understand first. Okay. The next thing is try to encourage them to find things that they actually enjoy. Because a lot of the time, what we find is a lot of women are like, if I lose 20 pounds, I'll be happier. But what they're really meaning is, if my life was like it was when I was 20 pounds lighter, I would be happier. It's not the actual weight itself a lot of the time. Like, yes, we have aesthetic goals, but they're equating that number on the scale to happiness when that's usually not the case. Usually it's what did their life actually look like in that time of their life? Were they doing more outings with friends? Were they spending more time with their families? Were they doing, reading, going for walks, exercising? Maybe they're crocheting, maybe they're knitting, maybe they're doing coloring books and cooking and baking. Who knows? But what are the things that they actually enjoy? Ask them and then do those things with them. Or if you're a coach, encourage them to do those things. We always ask women, what is your ideal self like? What do you do in a day? How do you feel? How do you talk to yourself? What are the routines that you have? And then what does your ideal day look like? We're not talking like vacation. We're talking like if you had just a general day in your life, what would be the perfect day to look like? How can we get you closer to that? For one woman, it was like, man, I used to really like to read in the morning. I'm like, okay, is that something that we can start doing now? She's like, yeah, actually, I guess. I'm like, okay, so let's do that. And just start doing those things, because doing things that fill up our cup are going to bring our stress levels down, are going to help with our hormonal symptoms. It's going to help us with sleep. And we're so focused a lot of the time on the nutrition and the macros and the exercise, which all are so incredibly important. Do not get me wrong. But what's the point if you're not doing the things that you love? Honestly. That's a dead serious question. The next thing is ask how you can support them. Have we ever thought to do that instead of just assuming what they need? Have you ever thought to ask, hey, what can I do to take things off your plate? Because maybe sometimes it's just I would love for you to go for coffee with me. Or I would love if you could help me with dishes one night a week. I promise you it won't be these crazy huge things. But if you ask that question, it opens up the door to help you figure out where their capacity is at. Because so many women are just so overworked. I talk about cortisol all the time. The way that cortisol goes up when our stress is up, right? And then it negatively affects our hormones and we see horrific hormonal imbalances symptoms, right? We see that our blood sugar control gets worse and then we have cravings and energy crashes and fat gain, right? Then we start seeing things okay, we're dealing with poor liver health. Gut health gets worse. We're having worse digestion, more bloating, or we get the runs, or, leaky gut, food sensitivities. We're seeing our thyroid function go down, which lowers our energy, our motivation, our metabolism slows down, so our body burns less calories at rest. So just by asking how you could take one thing off their plate, how can I best support you? Is there one thing that I could do starting today that would help you? When's the last time you ever asked that? Think about that. Because let's face it, most of the women in our lives, they are just go, 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 go. And we're cutting our calories, cutting our carbs, we're fasting, we're having coffee on an empty stomach, we're having our stress hormones go up all the time, we're running around taking care of everybody else, working, hitting financial deadlines, prioritizing our family, prioritizing our career. And they are just giving and giving and giving and giving. And at what time do they get to receive and instead? Because that is a really big thing, you guys. It's huge. Maybe it's just making sure, you help prep their breakfast in the morning when you're making yours. Maybe it's just, doing little things that support them. It doesn't have to be huge things, but little things can just show you appreciate more, make them feel more comforted, make them feel not alone. And if you actually take that step to ask, how can I support you? That makes them feel less alone right there because you're already acknowledging them. And that is huge. And this is for everyone, but for menopausal women in particular. And the last thing that I would say is help them find the right help. Practitioners who will listen. And this is really hard because doctors have strict timelines of what they're able to do, right? So helping them find maybe some other practitioners that are going to have the time to sit and to listen. I suggest that they get their hormones tested because this is a thing that a lot of people don't do. Be their advocate because chances are they have been your advocate for a really freaking long time. And they have been taking care of you, prioritizing you, putting your needs above their own. And it's about damn time someone advocated for them. So this wasn't a really long one. This was short. This was sweet. But this is a conversation that needs to happen and needs to get shared because when we hop on calls with people and they're like, you're the first person that's listened to me, it makes me want to cry. Because women have been suffering for years and years and years. And to finally find one person that will listen, it shouldn't be this hard. It shouldn't be this hard to find someone to listen. It shouldn't be this hard to find someone who will advocate for you. There shouldn't be this hard to have someone ask questions and questions and questions to actually understand. It shouldn't be this hard for you to get support and to be able to learn about your body. So if one of the best things that you could do is just share this. Share this with the women in your lives who need the support. You can message me. I will always answer. I will help you figure out where you need to be food-wise. I will, if you ask me, if you reach out to me, I am going to send you a list of 14 questions. And then after you respond back, I'm probably going to have more for you. Because I want to get as much information to fully understand what your body has been through, what that journey has looked like, where it is right now, so I can help provide you with the best guidelines possible to set you up for success. Asking someone's height, weight, and age and how much weight they want to lose and how active they are is not enough information. I literally still know nothing about you. So again, share this, subscribe, send it to the ladies in your life who need that support. If you need help, just message me. I will do everything I can to support you as best as I can because you matter. I love you all. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.